Hi, Kerry. How are you?
Hey, nice to meet you. Hello.
You too. How are you doing today?
Not too bad. Yeah, not too bad. Enjoying the free time.
Yes, indeed. So I loved your performance in this film. I thought you really encapsulated like a lived-in, authentic performance of a very protective mother, of a woman that's living kind of in fear of the future, of the land, of her spouse a little, but very hopeful for the future as well. So for those that don't know, tell them about Dreamland and a little about Olivia.
Thank you so much. I'm so glad you noticed those things that I tried to convey. Dreamland is about a kind of a coming of age story of a young boy living in the Dust Bowl era in America and sort of dreaming of escaping like a boy of his age does, but also because the circumstances of what he's living in, you would want
Right.
to escape it. And then there's a fugitive lady on the run, and there's a bounty on her head, and he encounters her and is sort of torn between turning her in and getting the reward or sort of falling for her and escaping the land, escaping with her. And
Right.
that's kind of what it's about.
Mhm. I'm always so fascinated to hear, especially theater actors, talk about how they begin to craft the performance. A lot of them, they go to the costumes. Some of them go to the like the production design in terms of stepping into that world. So, how did you go about crafting your portrayal of Olivia?
So I looked at a lot of pictures
Mm.
from that era. That was sort of the first thing, because a lot of the work I did was at home in my own house before I got to
Right.
the set. And so a lot of pictures, the Lange, Dorothea Lange has beautiful pictures from that era. And they were all sort of weather beaten and like
Right.
just really lived in and kind of worn out looking. And I
Mm.
really wanted to sort of do that properly and really look like that withered look that they have in their faces and the anxiety on their faces. So that was sort of the first plan that I had, was to really go for that and sort of blend in with the landscape, and also to contrast between Margot's character, who is someone
Right.
that he would fall in love with and who was beautiful, that I would be different, that I was like beaten down by all these things that had
Mm.
happened to me in the land and the circumstances of my life and everything. So that was
Right.
the first thing. Then I read some books. There was a really amazing book called The Worst Hard Time, Timothy Egan, and it
Oh,
was all about that era and that time and the people who had survived it, and they told stories about it, because I didn't really know much about that time in America.
no. Yeah.
So I'm from Ireland, and we only learned like
Mm.
European history and a little bit of
Right.
American history. So
Right.
that was really interesting to me, learning all about that. And so when she arrives, she wasn't born in that place. They come to
Right.
that place because they were giving away free land to settlers at that time.
Right.
And so that's what I really liked about the role. There was sort of like, it was very well crafted for a small supporting role, because
Mm.
she was taken away from her home with this husband who she was pregnant by,
Right.
into this place, this barren place. And just so
Yeah.
from the beginning, there was a backstory, and then there was just somewhere to go from with a backstory. So that was kind of
Mm.
the other thing that I looked at. And then I asked about music too, from the
Oh,
director Miles, to just get an
right.
idea of the tone, or like what he was listening to that was kind of influencing what he was going to shoot and stuff.
Mm.
And so he gave me this beautiful music to listen to. And I said, "Oh, wow, that's
Oh,
so beautiful. Like, where did you get that music?" And he had composed the music.
what?
Yeah. I swear to God, I was like, he just had so many strings to his bow. He was so talented.
Wow.
And so I listened to that music and sort of throughout the shoot, and read the book, and then just kind of let go of everything and tried to stick
Mm.
with what was written in the script.
Wow. Now I want to hear this music.
Oh, right. It was beautiful.
So I thought the family dynamics were also very fascinating because they're very frayed. There's a lot of fear there, but there's a lot of love there too, and you can feel it as a viewer. So what was it like building that dynamic with Travis and with Darby and Finn?
So I kind of needed to think about the fact that Eugene, Finn's character, he wants to escape, right? So he wants to leave. And I know every teenager sort of wants to leave home, but I kind of wanted to create like a distance between us so that it would kind of make him more want to leave. And
Right.
so I felt that it was better if my character had like a little bit of guilt because she sort of
Mm,
remarried for not necessarily for love, but for like it was
yeah.
just to get through her life being in the Dust Bowl. So that every time she kind of looked at him, that there was sort of a guilt there and a
Mm,
little bit of a sadness because there was a lot of unspoken stuff. And there was
right.
the idea that Eugene didn't get on with his new father. And
Right.
so I knew that, and there was a guilt about that too. And so that I had so much love for him, but like that when you look at somebody that you feel kind of guilty about choices that you've made, that kind of makes you a little bit back from. So it would have been kind of easy to understand his predicament about wanting to escape and feeling a bit lonely and feeling a little outside. And then Darby's character, the younger
Mm,
daughter that I had with my new husband, that was a
right.
more easier relationship because she was young and
Mm,
she didn't know the dynamics of grown-ups remarrying and all those sort of
right.
things. So their relationship was a lot easier and a lot
Mm,
more obvious that they were bonded easier than she did
mm,
with her son. So sort of,
right.
have two different relationships with your children,
Yeah.
which happens. Like people don't
Yeah.
evenly, it's not the same with every child, especially if you remarry and things like that. So,
Right.
and then Travis's character as a husband, the father of Finn's character. I hope it doesn't sound really
Mm.
complicated. It's pretty. I mean, the view washed up,
Yeah.
but Finn's father leaves me at the beginning, and he's an alcoholic, and it's that's so sad that she's just left and
Yeah.
deserted in the middle of nowhere.
Right.
And it's kind of like that thing in the pandemic now that you realize that like
Yeah.
something awful can be going on in the world, but like life still happens. Like shit things in
Right.
life still happen through a shit like environmental disaster and stuff. So
Yeah.
your husband can be an alcoholic and leave you, and while all this other stuff is going on. And
Right.
so she remarries, I in my head, for the sake of like making her life easier, like to have a man, and he provided money and it was just
Yeah.
easier. And but I didn't think there was love. I feel like she was really in love with her first, the
Yeah.
alcoholic. Yeah, that was in my head.
Yeah.
It was like a young love and it was forever broken, and this was just sort of a little bit convenient. Not convenient, Jesus, that sounds wrong, but do you know what
I know what you mean. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
I mean? It's not like she had a choice, but um, that was kind of my idea. So while she was fond of him, he's hard on the boy, and
Yeah.
so it's not a total love there with him, I think.
Hmm.
And I think she knows that her son knows that, and that's that guilt
Yeah.
thing again, and the embarrassment about that. He knows that
Right.
that's why she did that, sort of.
Right. And I loved your moment with Finn about the postcards. There's just so much heartbreak there. It's just such a beautiful scene.
It is, and that's that guilt that like
Yeah.
she was keeping something from him to protect him, and yeah, there's a sadness with parents like that when they do something
Yeah.
for the benefit of the child, but it kind of eats at them through their life, and the child doesn't see that it was for their benefit. So I
Yeah.
know I really love that scene too. I just felt so sorry for her
Mm.
character, that character. She was like trying
Hmm.
her best, but
Yeah. Yeah. And you could see that towards the end with the phone call that she's doing so much for her son and there's so much love there.
I know, and I don't want to see what happens in the end.
Right, right, right.
Even that was just like, oh my gosh, like you wonder what happened to her after the movie ends,
Yeah, yeah,
and how
right.
her life ended. And so yeah, I really liked that era and that time and all those people. I mean, we think we have it bad now. It's crazy. Like thinking about all of what those people went through. And
Right.
Jesus Christ, they must have been like
I know.
miserable.
Yeah, yeah, especially the shots of the land and the nature and what they have to go through. It's just, I can't even imagine,
It was
right?
so beautiful. That was part of the reason why I really wanted to do the movie too, because it
Mm.
reminded me of Badlands. You know that amazing.
Right. Yeah, 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 yeah,
So it reminded me of that with the voiceover and the sort of coming of age story and that sort of picturesque landscape
yeah.
um,
Right.
in
Yeah.
America. And so that sort of drew me to it. And then I really like the DP on it did such a beautiful job.
Mm-hmm.
Like it looks beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Just looks
Mm-hmm.
so, the landscape looks so beautiful. So I was really
Mm-hmm.
proud of it when I saw it. I thought they did such a beautiful job on the landscape.
I agree. And I'm run out of time, it seems like. So finally, what have you been watching or reading lately that you've been really liking?
Oh yeah, yeah. Let me think. The first thing that comes to mind is the documentary "The Last Dance." Did you see that about?
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh my God, I don't even watch basketball, and I
Me
was
neither.
right. Oh, he is like Jesus. I swear. The belief was I love that, and it made me nostalgic for the '90s and
Right.
just when he passed the shot to your man Steve and Steve. Oh my God, I
Yes.
started crying.
Yes.
And
I know.
the underdog scoring, it was beautiful. So that was kind of my favorite thing that I watched the whole time. And then the one-off episode of The West Wing that they did.
Oh yeah, the reunion. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh my God. It was like, it just shows you if you're good actors and good dialogue, you don't really
Right.
need like amazing sets or
Right.
amazing shots. Like it was so good just with the dialogue and the actors.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I really like that too.
Well, thank you so, so much for your time, Kerry, and thank
Thank
you for
you
your
very
art.
much.
I
Take
love this.
care.
Thank you. Have a
Bye.
great day.
Thank
Bye.
you.